Hello everyone, Gentleman here with another Epic 7 video. For this video, I want to talk about Infinite Horizon Achates and give you my honest opinion / feedback about whether you should or shouldn't consider summoning for her, especially because I know it's also a little bit tricky when summoning for a 4-star Moonlight hero on the Mystics banner, because you can choose to either go directly for her or just go the normal route and then select a 5-star Moonlight hero, and then as you're summoning for that, hopefully get the feature 4-star, in this case Infinite Horizon Achates, along the way. So we'll talk about that. I'll give you my honest opinion on what you should do. But before that, of course, we gotta take a quick look at her stats and her skills to see if she's even worth the trouble. Now, to start things off, I think her base defense is really good. Although I do wish her health was a little bit higher, just because as we'll see in a little bit, a lot of her skills do scale off of her health. So I do wish this was a little bit higher, but it's also not bad or terrible at all either. Her speed at 100 may seem a little bit low, but as we'll see also in a little bit, she does have a few tools in her kit that help her speed up, which make this base speed of 100 not seem too bad. And also you'll probably want to build her a little bit slower than most other characters, just because she's more like holding your enemy hostage, from using from pressing their buttons, from using their skills. So you will usually want to go after your enemy, but we'll see that in a minute. The one thing I'm really happy about is her imprint concentration being effect resistance, because you will want as much effect resistance on this character as possible. Of course, as I briefly mentioned right now, she will probably want to go after your enemy, so she is supposed to be able to stay afloat when the rest of your team is probably falling apart, getting debuffed, etc. So she's supposed to step up to the plate, cleanse your whole team, and turn the tables around. But yeah, overall, her base stats are not bad. She does get a little bit of an extra effect resistance, 12% thrown in there. So not great, but also not bad. But yeah. Moving on to her skills. As we can see right here, her skill 1 attacks the enemy with a staff with a 30% chance to stun for 1 turn. And if you soul burn it, it increases that chance to 100%. So right off the bat, really good S1. Any S1, in my opinion, that can either defense break or stun the enemy is a really good effect, really good skill, just because this means that she will be really useful even when her skills are on cooldown. So really good and really scary to go up against this, right? And moving on, her skill 2. With a mysterious power, dispels 2 debuffs from an ally except for the caster, and grants a barrier for 2 turns before increasing combat readiness by 40%. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max health. And again, as we can see right here, she does scale her barrier proportional to her health, which is why you want to build her, of course, with a lot of health, not just for her to survive. But I think this is a really good S2, probably one of the better S2s from any Soul Weaver we've seen in the game to this point. Also because it's on a only 2-turn cooldown. This is wild. This is basically Destina's S2 in a sense. Of course, this one does not heal, but it does give you a fat barrier, because as we can see right here, all her skill enhancements just give you a thicker and thicker barrier. So I'm hoping this barrier actually lives up to all this buzz, right? Not to mention, of course, she is dispelling 2 debuffs from an ally and then pushing them by 40% on the combat readiness bar. So really good. It gives you not only that sustain, that stability, but also that aggression in your team that you will probably want to have. And moving on to her skill 3, dispels all debuffs from all allies before granting a random buff for 2 turns for each debuff dispelled and recovering health. Amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's max health. When this skill is available according to cooldown count at the end of an enemy's turn, increases combat readiness of the caster by 15%. So really good. I really like that she actually does heal your team with her S3, because it does feel weird having a Soul Weaver that doesn't heal. I know, kind of weird, right? But yeah, she does heal in her S3 and then provides a barrier with her S2. But yeah, she dispels all debuffs, and then for every debuff that she dispelled, she grants a random buff. Now this might trigger and tilt a lot of people, whether it's you yourself or your enemy, giving you the most OP buffs or the shittiest ones. So you probably live or die by this random buffs from this skill that you get. But also the fact that she is able to increase her combat readiness by 50% at the end of an enemy's turn is amazing. And that's why I mentioned earlier when looking at her stats that 100 speed is not terrible, because you probably want to build her slower than most of your enemy's team, simply because if, for example, the enemy team has an Angel of Light, you will hold that Angel of Light hostage, because if she debuffs your entire team after her turn ends, you will then be able to, well, I mean, in this case, ML Achates will be able to push herself up and then hopefully cut off the rest of the enemy's team, and then be able to jump in, cleanse your whole team, and then for every debuff that your team had, they'll of course gain all those buffs, and then we'll be able to help you turn the tables around. It's either that or the Angel of Light simply does nothing, right? So really good S3. But of course now we have to take into account her banners, if you should summon for her. And yeah, for that, let's jump in real quick into the game and take a look at the upcoming Mystic summon lineup. Of course, I'm doing this video before reset, so right now we still have Navy Captain Landy, but of course we can see what's coming. From here, I would definitely suggest you that instead of selecting her directly and then summoning for her and then, you know, have a guaranteed PD at about 120, I would just strongly suggest you to just go for a 5-star Moonlight hero, because this is one of the most stacked Mystic summon lineup that we've seen in a while. And I say that for mainly two reasons right here: Last Rider Crow and Lionheart Sermia. Both are very good and have so much usage. Last Rider Crow has seen so much more gameplay after his buffs, and Lionheart Sermia too, she just got buffed too, even though she didn't need it, right? She's really a really good character right off the bat, and she just counters a whole type of playstyle, right? She's a very secure unit and dishes out a ton of damage. So in my opinion, if you do not have either Last Rider Crow or Lionheart Sermia, in my opinion, you should pick one of these two. In my case, I actually don't have either one of them. So what I will do is, since thankfully I got very lucky with my Navy Captain Landy summons, I was able to save up this many Mystic medals. So I will just be throwing everything that I have at one of these two characters. I'm still debating which one I want, but if you're also in defense, I think Last Rider Crow might be the most, I guess, well-rounded, the most used character, because Lionheart Sermia, of course, is more circumstantial. If you're playing RTA, you have to see if your enemy is drafting any type of characters that counters or something like that. But if they don't, then she's pretty much useless. Unlike Last Rider Crow, he's just one of the best tanks in the game. And of course, if you're going into RTA and your opponent picks Arrowwell, well, then you have to pick a different tank, right? And in that case, Last Rider Crow will be an amazing option. And if your first pick, Last Rider Crow 2 is one of those tanks that, again, not only do they tank a lot of damage for your team, but they can kill so many other characters that are very sneaky, like even Lionheart Sermia type of characters, evasion type of characters, so on and so forth, right? So in my opinion, maybe the smarter character to summon for will be Last Rider Crow, and then followed up by Lionheart Sermia. Not to say that Desert Jewel Bazaar is bad, I think he's also really good. Probably the lowest priority unit will be Silverblade Araminthia. She doesn't really have many uses. She's not fast, she usually gets outplayed very easily. But yeah, in my opinion, will be between those two. And then hopefully you also get Infinite Horizon Achates along the way. So that'll be my advice. I don't think it's worth going a full pity into just a 4-star Moonlight character. Definitely try your luck. I mean, these mystic medals come by very few and far between unless you're spending money. So use them very wisely. You do not want to pass up on an opportunity like this to get a 5-star Moonlight hero and then hopefully get her along the way. Of course, it would suck if you don't get her, but you gotta remember that you can get 4-star characters relatively easy when you use your Moonlight summons. In my case, I'm saving all my gold transmit stones so I can come up with Moonlight summons, and then hopefully once I do my Moonlight summons, I can get a lot of different 4-star ML characters, and hopefully along those 4-star characters I can find Infinite Horizon Achates in case I didn't get lucky with her when summoning for one of these two characters. But yeah guys, that's gonna be mainly it. That's my opinion. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think or what you're gonna do if this helped you out. But yeah, I would very much like to know how everything went out for you. But yeah guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one. Laters!